Thanks for joining me. This is Danny, and welcome back to my RealTech series. Today we are going to be playing with RailCraft. Hooray! Getting ready to prepare for a very large project, which is going to involve a very large rail network, a high-speed rail network, that is going to run all the way from our base to this snowy biome. And it's going to go through 2 villages along the way. It's going to be a high-speed rail through the straightaways, and it's going to take us to villages to do trading and stuff like that. It's going to take us to this snowy biome to kill blazes, freezes. In the process, we're going to be setting up some auto crafting, sort of. I mean, we don't really have true auto crafting, but we're going to kind of make our own auto crafting with the tools that we've got using immersive engineering and RailCraft and forestry and Steve's Carts. So using our existing Steve's Carts network system. So this is going to be a multiple mod project in order to set up kind of an auto crafting system for rails and high-speed rails and the various things, mostly things that involve creosote oil, because we're storing our creosote oil way up there, but we're storing all our items in here. So having to run back and forth to do crafting is definitely not ideal. So in the last episode, we set up kind of a auto crafting like setup with steel, where we throw our, in fact, I'm making some right now. We throw our iron and coal in here, and our train comes and picks it up, or our little cart comes and picks it up and drops it off up there. It makes steel for us, and then it brings it back, as you can see here. We're going to do something similar to that in order to make, actually not these, but for the, well, what would be vanilla tracks, but because we have RailCraft, they're RailCraft tracks now because it hijacks the recipe. To make these wooden rail beds, we're going to need creosote oil and some planks. So what we're going to do is we're going to have it set up so that whenever we drop planks, like oak planks, in this thing, it's going to carry them off. It's going to make these little rail bed or wooden, it's going to make the rail ties, the wooden ties, and it's going to bring them back here, just like this cart is doing right now, bringing us our steel, and it's going to drop them off in here. If we look at the recipe for tracks, we can see that to make these wooden ties, we can do this in a crafting table with a creosote bottle, or we can stick the 3 slabs in a carpenter from forestry with some creosote oil. It uses 750 millibuckets of creosote oil, which is actually less than this. This is actually a full bucket of creosote oil. So we save a little bit of creosote oil, and then plus we have some automation. Oh, it's hot in here. Whew. Plus we have some automation. So that's what we're going to set up. I guess the first thing we're going to have to do is make that machine. And that requires a bunch of bronze and a sturdy casing, which is also bronze, and some glass. So we can go like that, and there's our carpenter. Let's put this guy right over here. That should work. I've got a pipe coming here from our creosote tank. We're going to have to put a redstone signal, or give it a redstone signal though. If we give this guy a redstone signal, that will tell it that we want it to output. So now if we go down there, we should see that the carpenter is filling up with creosote oil. Yay! And voltage wire connector. I'm going to put that on the side. And then we need to be able to pull the items out. Well, we need to get them in and out. So right now we've got this thing bringing down coal and iron. We also wanted to bring down oakwood slabs. And then I guess we'll break this conveyor belt and put up another item router and say that on the south side we want it to do slabs. Everything else will end up going that way because it's the only other place it can go. So that's how these item routers work. If you don't specify anything, it'll just basically give you everything in that direction. So if we put slabs, can I get up there? I can't get up there. But if slabs come in, they're going to end up in here. So then if we do this, the carpenter now knows that when it gets slabs, it's going to make wooden ties. But of course, if we put slabs in here, it's going to say, we don't have any power. If we don't have slabs, it's going to say, we don't have any stuff of this block, so it's on the other side. So now we should be able to do that. Hooray! So now this guy should have power. I think it's lying. Let's see. Yep, it's working. It just needed an inventory to update. So you can see it's making this. It does take some time, but that's fine. If we queue a bunch up, then cool. Okay, so now the wooden tie is sitting in there. Obviously, that's not going to help us. If it's going to sit in there, we want to get it out. So now, if we place this hopper, because what this conveyor belt here is going into a hopper up there, which is actually where things get sent home. So if we put that in there now, it should end up up there. We'll have to go upstairs to check it out. It should end up, oh, this is a mess. It should end up here. Yeah. Hooray. So whatever we put into our cargo manager at home is going to end up in this cargo manager over here. So if we throw slabs in there, they should end up in that carpenter. Yes. And then they should end up going home or in our inventory, as the case may be. Nice. So that is complete. But as long as we're here doing this kind of stuff, I would also like to autocraft our treated wood, which we can do in our assembler. We can set up another recipe in here. We can pipe in our creosote oil in here and autocraft treated wood. But we'll have to filter the output because all the output right now is going up into the silos upstairs. All we really have to do is do this. Say a bucket of creosote oil surrounded by oak wood planks makes treated wood planks. Fluid input is right there. Our pipe is right down there. So this works out nicely. All I have to do is hooray. And there we go. It's filling up with creosote oil. So if we put 8 pieces of oak in here, it makes treated wood. Hooray! Okay, now I removed all the conveyor belts back here, so nothing's going to come out. It's all going to be stuck in there. And I put a hole in the floor where this hopper is. This happens to be one of the hoppers that's connected to the conveyor belt that's heading back toward home, toward the home thing. So we need to route our treated wood down here. And we need to route our pumpkins, or our pumpkin seeds up there. I have a hopper duct down there going into the hopper. I'm just going to put this guy right there. All right, let's put the vertical conveyor belts this way. Seeds go up. Treated wood goes down. And then I'm just going to put another hopper duct there. There, so that should work. Now, all we have to do is that and that. There we go. So now that's all going up. And I don't have enough oak planks to test. Crap. Oops. Oh, whatever. So we'll just throw some treated wood on here and see. Make sure that it goes to the right place. We should see it. We should see it appear in the hopper duct. Maybe it was too fast for us. But anyway, it should be over here. There we go. Hooray, it's working. Okay. Nice. When oak wood planks come in, they're going to go up. Boom, boom, boom. They're going to end up on this conveyor belt. They're going to come over here. They're going to get dropped down onto this conveyor belt and then into our assembler, which is going to assemble them. It's going to take some creosote oil, assemble them into oak wood planks, and then pop them out over here. And then this thing's going to find the treated wood, drop it down there, and send it back home. And the seeds are going to go up and end up in our silo. Nice! Hooray! So we have two kind of auto-crafting systems set up now. So if we put... Whoa, hello. If we put planks in our cargo manager at home, we're going to get railroad ties. If we put... No. If we put slabs in here, we're going to get railroad ties back home. If we put planks in here in sets of 8, we're going to get treated wood back home. Nice! Now I'm going to make another work table from forestry, and this is going to be designated as our RailCraft work table. We've got our immersive engineering work table here, which we're saving all our immersive engineering recipes, and this one's going to be for RailCraft. I guess we'll just put this right there, even though it kind of blocks our ocean view, our beautiful ocean view. And this is what we're going to use to make our tracks and stuff. So I guess first of all, we want to make a bunch of regular tracks from Minecraft. I mean, the Minecraft tracks, but with the RailCraft recipe. So this is just a crafting recipe. We're just going to do that in this thing. Obviously, our wooden tiles, we already set those up. So if we want to do, let's say we want to do like 2 stacks, we're going to need 4 of these wooden rail beds, which means 16 times 3, so we're going to need 48 wooden or 48 slabs. So that's obviously not going to be a problem. Oops. So all we have to do now is put 48 slabs in this guy. Oh, we just missed the cart. We just missed the mailman. Oh well. Next time he comes back, he's going to pick up those 48 oak wood slabs and bring back 16 railroad ties. Then the next thing we're going to need to make regular tracks are these standard rails, which require the metal rolling machine. There are 2 of them. There's a manual rolling machine. We don't want that. And then there's a powered rolling machine. The manual rolling machine is much cheaper. It's just pistons. It doesn't require any RF or anything. But the rolling process takes time, and it works like a vanilla crafting table where you have to stay in there while it's crafting. If you exit out, your items will drop and it won't craft. It'll stop the crafting process. So we definitely want the powered rolling machine, which is a little more expensive. It requires the steel gears and this gear bushing. So bronze and steel. Forestry makes this recipe nice and easy for us. Ta-da! Oh, but we end up with RailCraft. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so let's just put these both in the drawer. Storage drawers will ordict your ores for you, or your whatever. So now we have 22 RailCraft. Whatever the first ingot you put in there, like whichever type of ingot, all the other ingots that you put in after that are going to be the same type as long as they're, ordicted together. Ready to make our rolling machine. We've got lots of steel coming in. Hooray! And all the other ingredients that we need are right here. Nice. So we need to make these steel gears, which require steel bushings. We'll have to make 4 of those. And 4 steel gears. Maybe we'll save those recipes. Maybe not. And then there's our powered rolling machine. Hooray! Alright, I've got a low voltage capacitor bank there. So that's going to be our input. I'm going to put that there. Alright, this is kind of a long shot, but let's see if this works. Oh! It worked. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we can bring a lot of these machines in now. We don't have to leave them sitting outside. And then I'm going to set this side to output. Okay, I'm gonna put that there. And we'll put our rolling machine right there. Hooray! And then we'll have to put another one of these right there. And ta-da! We have power. Nice. And then if we want to, it's not going to consume these unless we click that button. Unless we click that button. If we put additional ones in there, it will craft one, but it'll always leave one set in there. So that we could, if we wanted to, use this for automation. So we could pipe a bunch of iron in here, and it would make a bunch of these standard rails, and then we could pipe them out. I'm actually not going to do that because I only plan on making one powered rolling machine right now. So I'm just going to make, let's see, how many of these did I want to make? I said about 2 stacks, so we're going to need 24 of these rails. So 3 sets, So there's that one, and then we can just click to have it use up the last one. And pretty soon we should be getting our ties back. There we are. Hooray! Which I'm going to throw in here. And we're going to save this recipe to make wooden rail beds. Nice. And then I'm going to put that in there. Put that in there. And there we go. We've got 2 stacks of tracks. Yay! I'm just going to leave those in there for now. I'm going to save that recipe. And then there's 2 other types of tracks that we want to make. One of them is the high-speed rails. These are going to be a little bit more expensive. They require the stone rail beds, which don't require creosote oil, but they do require this concrete and rebar, which is, you know, that's not terribly bad. And again, I'd like to start with 2 stacks of these. And then we're going to have to make these transition track kits, which is going to require more stuff in the metal rolling machine. We're going to do 3 sets of these. And we'll just let that go, and while that's going on, we're going to work on making our stone ties, which are going to require these bags of concrete. So let's see, we're going to need 4 sets of stone rail beds. So that means we need 16 stone ties, which means we need 32 bags of concrete. If we could get ground blast furnace slag, which unfortunately we can't get that from immersive engineering slag, as far as I can tell, then we could do that, but we'll have to use nether quartz, which I guess is fine. We've got plenty of that. So we need 16 rebar. Oh, what? No, that's not. So we need 32. So we need 48 altogether. So it looks like if we do that and then that, it's going to distribute them all for us. Look at that. That's pretty nice. Oh, wait a minute. That makes 4. We don't need that much. We only need to do 4 sets of these. Now I've got 32 bags of that, so we can make our stone ties. Oh, we need water. I also use the carpenter for this, from forestry again. A lot of compatibility between forestry and, yeah, there we go. Nice. So we can just let that go. When we set up our high-speed rails, we're going to have to create a bunch of these transition track kits, which are basically like boosters, and they will speed up the cart when it's going in one direction so that it can take advantage of the high-speed rails. And in our case, we're going to be using a steam locomotive, so it's going to speed up the steam locomotive and all of the carts that it's pulling. When it goes over the transition tracks in one direction, when it's heading in the other direction, it's going to slow them down, which is very necessary because if you leave the high-speed rails and you go into a turn or you go onto other types of rails, while you're still going the speed of the high-speed rails, you will blow up. The locomotive will blow up and cause a big, huge explosion. So we want to make sure that we have about 8 or 9 transition kits for every transition. So the plan, because the high-speed rails only work on straightaways, like when you're going straight. So every time we turn, we're going to have to slow down the cart. We'll probably, I don't know, maybe start over here and kind of go across here. We're going to have to slow down the cart, make that turn, and then we can speed up again. And then we got to slow down, make another turn, slow down, make another turn, speed up. So we're really only going to be using the high-speed rails for like the long distance straight tracks. And you can go up and down hills, but not too much, because if you go down a hill too much, you can pick up too much speed and, well, blow up. So therefore, we're probably going to need close to a stack of these things. We're going to need way more than probably these as well, to the 2 stacks that I'm making in here. So I may think about setting up some kind of auto crafting. Oh, there they are. Wait, 10? Oh, we've got a couple in there already. Yeah. Yay, okay, now we can take these guys and do this. And we've got our 4 stone rail beds. And our 24 high-speed rails. So, therefore, we can make our 2 stacks of high-speed rails. Hooray! So we're going to need a stack of these. So 2 stacks of iron nuggets, that's not a big deal. And 2 stacks of these. So 16 times 3, so 48 of each of those. How are we with gold? We're doing fine. Okay, so no big deal. We can totally do this. Okay, I've got a second rolling machine up here, so we can have both of these running at the same time. Hopefully that won't drain too much power. Oh, looks like we're keeping up pretty well. Nice. Hey, there we go. There's our transition kits. Oh boy, that cleaned us out. Now we're ready to make our locomotive. Hooray! And that is this. We need 4 steel plates for this. Now, these steel plates are not compatible with steel plates from Immersive Engineering or any other mod for that matter. As you can see, the steel plate from Immersive Engineering is completely different, and its OR dictionary is plate steel. This has no OR dictionary, so you have to make it in the metal rolling machine with 4 steel, and that's easy enough, so we'll just do that. And then we just need some regular vanilla stuff, a couple furnaces, a couple mine carts, and iron bars. There we go. There's our steam locomotive. Hooray! Now the steam locomotive is somewhat dangerous. As I had mentioned earlier, it can blow up under certain circumstances, mostly when you're dealing with high-speed rail. And it also kills anything that it encounters. So like with your vanilla mine carts or even your Steve's carts, mine carts, if a mob is on the track, it will stop the cart. It will not stop a locomotive. It's a little harder to stop a locomotive. It will just blast right through. It needs water and it needs coal. Now, if it ever runs out of water, it'll stop working. However, in the process of running out of water, it will become extremely, extremely, extremely hot. So then if you try to put water in it when it's already really, really hot, it'll blow up. So do be careful about that. So what we're going to want to do, in addition to building our tracks going all the way out there, is we're going to want to have periodic stops along the way where water gets pumped into our locomotive. What we need for that is a fluid loader, and we're going to pump water into that fluid loader using some kind of infinite water supply, and then we're going to want to stop it using a locking track. So we can make the locking track kit, which is similar to the kit that we made for our transition rails, and you right click on a rail with that. Let's start with 4 of these for now. We can just put that in there and it'll distribute it, and now it's gonna make 4 of those. There we go. We've got our 4 hoppers, our 20-foot glass. That should give us 4 fluid loaders. And then we're going to need some kind of infinite water supply. Now there's a couple different options in this pack. None from RailCraft, but we can just do the pressure pipes one. That's probably the cheapest one. 2 water buckets and 6 iron ingots. This project is eating my iron like crazy. I have less than a stack of iron left. That drawer was almost full of iron before. Okay, 1. We're going to build like a train station over here, but today we're just going to lay our first stretch of track and make our first bridge, which is going to go over the water. It's going to possibly look a little silly for now because it's not going to have any supports or anything like that, but we'll get to that. We'll definitely get to that in the next episode when we do our builds. But I think we're going to work on this little stretch, just going from here out to that little island. But before we do, we might take a little ride in our Vicacron. If I can remember R. Okay, we're going to throw our module in here to make it go faster. And we're going to throw that in there. Okay. Ooh. Oh yeah, that makes it much faster. Nice. So we're just going to basically come straight from there and out. Now the water is really deep here, so I don't know what we're going to do like for supports. I mean, obviously we don't technically need supports, but it would be nice to have it look like it's being supported somehow. We're going to have some regular rails over here at kind of the stop, and then we'll have a water fill-up station here, and then we're going to have transition rails going, probably about 8 of them, and then we're going to transition into high-speed rails, and the high-speed rails are going to go all the way across here until we get to about here, and then we're going to have transition rails again, slowing us down because at this island we're going to turn this way. Ta-da! A crowbar is a very useful tool with RailCraft. That's kind of our sort of wrench sort of thing in RailCraft. It's going to allow us to link carts together. It's also going to allow us to pick up tracks really quickly and easily. We're just doing this stretch over here. That's the height I want it when it goes over the water, so that there's 1 block between the water and the bridge, so that we can still use boats under it, even though we probably never will. We pulled our mining cart, so we're going to use that just to lay our initial tracks. Of course, it's only going to be able to lay vanilla tracks. We're going to turn the drill off, and we're going to give the railer some tracks, and we're going to give our bridge builder, this is the reason I want to use this, because it can build a bridge and lay tracks. Now there are things in RailCraft that can do the same thing, but here we've already got this, so let's just use it. Put that there, and we just take this guy and we shift right click. It says link started, and then we shift right click again, and there we go. We have a link. Nice. So now I can sit right there, and I can control this guy. And unfortunately, Steve's carts can only do vanilla rails, but we can replace those rails with RailCraft. We'll do that later. As you can see, we cannot put the high-speed tracks in there, or any other kind of tracks for that matter. Hopefully this is facing in the right direction. We have our drill turned off. It says enable drill, which means the drill's turned off. So we're going to put in some coal, and we should start moving. Yay! So that's basically how I'm going to control this thing. I'm going to pull the coal out of it, or we can just turn the engine off. If we set it to disabled, it'll turn it off, and we can get out and take a look at, you know, whatever. So as you can see, it's placing these stone blocks, or stone bricks. Unfortunately, it will only place certain blocks, mostly just vanilla brick blocks. But again, we can use RailCraft to replace the blocks. This is really slow. I probably don't need to ride along. I could probably just kind of walk behind for now. There it is, heading off into the sunset. So we're a little bit short. We're not quite going to make it. We're almost there, but yeah, we're not going to make it. Which is fine. As soon as it runs out of rails, it's going to just turn around and take us back home, and we can go get some more. And it'll be a bit of a faster trip because we're not placing blocks or laying rails. Now, of course, our steam locomotive is going to be much faster than this. The track relayer cart is this, and this is going to pick up tracks and replace them with other tracks. That is going to give us a place to put the tracks. We're going to continue using Steve's carts to power our cart, because I don't want to use a steam locomotive yet until we have the high-speed rails set up the way they're supposed to be. Otherwise, I don't want to run the risk of having it explode on us. So here's our track relayer, and this thing, we tell it we want it to place these, and then we're going to, of course, link these together. Nice. And I'm thinking as it picks up tracks, it should end up putting them in there. Now, I don't want it to start with the high speed until it gets to about here, I think, because this is going to be all inside of like the train station. So I'm not going to put tracks in there yet. I'm going to get this guy started, and then I'm going to throw tracks in there. Okay. Okay, this is not working, because I do need to tell it what to replace. Okay, there we go. So it should have put that track in here. It did. Nice. There we go. So it's picking up tracks and it's replacing them with the high-speed tracks. Now we can put high-speed tracks in that cart too, and it'll grab them from the cart. But I just want to see how many we need here before I do that. And I can't reach that cart anyway, so I guess that's not gonna happen yet. Stop us. Oh, because I don't want it to turn around. Because I'm gonna give it some more tracks. And some more of those. So we could have done this in the first place. Actually, we could have just had this thing picking up the tracks that this one's laying right away. Okay, now we're going much slower because we're placing blocks and rails in the front, and we're replacing rails back here. This is nice, man. I like this. Having all these little machines doing all this work for us and moving around. Now I'm going to grab my transition track kits. Oh, no. And I'm going to place them here. So 1, 2, and you can see there's kind of an arrow there, so they're pointing in that direction, which means that when we're going in this direction, it's going to give us a boost when we give it a redstone signal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ah, crap. Eight, 9. So we can put a lever right there. That should power this whole stretch. Hooray! We're going to get a little bit of a speed boost with Steve's carts, but not a lot. Not much. Just a little bit. We'll get a lot more of a speed boost when we start doing the locomotive. And you can see it's making a little more noise now. Of course, we're pushing all this stuff, so that's slowing us down. Now we can do the same thing on this side. And then give it a lever. I mean, a redstone signal or whatever. We can do a lever, we can do a redstone block, whatever. Doesn't matter. Cool. Yay, now we can place down our steam locomotive. So we can change the color of this thing, and we can also change the whistle and all that, but we're not going to worry about that quite yet. But as you can see, this is a steam locomotive. It does have a steam tank. It also has a water tank, which it then turns into steam. This is going to be ugly today. We'll make it look pretty later. But I'm going to put up a infinite water supply right there. And then I'm going to put this guy, this fluid loader, right there. And it should fill up with water. Hooray! And it's going to fill carts with fluid. Whatever carts we tell it to fill. If we don't tell it anything, it's going to fill everything, including our locomotive. So, in fact, if we place our locomotive right under there, we'll see that it's going to have that little tube come down and go into there, and it's going to fill it up with water. Nice. So every time it passes this, actually it's not because we forgot to put a stopping thing on there, but let me break this again. What we want here is a stopping track. So we have our locking track kit. When we right click on it, it turns it into an iron invalid track, but it actually is turning it into a stopping track, which is basically going to, if the steam locomotive is running, it's going to stop there until it fills up with water, and then it's going to start going again. Now we can put this thing down one so that it is at this level, and then it will instantly fill up the locomotive. Like, we won't have to wait for that little thing to come down. However, we'll bump our heads on it every time we go under it and take some suffocation damage, so that's obviously not ideal. So I'm going to throw some coal in there, and we can put some in there too, and it'll use that to keep it full. Now the train has 3 modes. It has shutdown mode, which means it's just off, which is where it is right now. Actually, let's turn that around. Okay. It means it's off. We can put it on idle. That means that it's burning coal and it's starting to boil our water into steam. So once the temperature reaches 100 degrees Celsius, then we're going to start getting steam in here. And once we have a fair amount of steam, we can go into running mode, which means that it will then go. Hooray! But I'd like to move this cart, whoa, there, so that we can link it. So while it's in idle mode, it's not going to burn quite as much fuel as it will as it's in running, or when it's in running mode. I sure hope I did everything right here, because if this thing blows up, it's going to kill me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we should be good. We should be good. Okay, so we're good to go. So I'm going to sit in this cart, and oh, it's filling up with water again. I guess the water was low enough, and then we're going to go into running mode, and then we're going to turn it all the way up. So you can see we're going much faster than the Steve's carts was. And oh crap, I cannot reach. Okay, I'm going to slow it down a little. In fact, I'm going to go into idle. Because we're at the end of the track here. So there we go. Nice. Now when we turn it around, it will just push that cart. Of course, yeah, we'll just do that. That's fine. So I can sit in here and high speed running. Hooray! Very fast. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, we didn't get quite far enough. So it'll stop there anyway. It actually goes into idle mode when it hits the stopping track. So it goes into idle mode, which means it's going to use a little bit less coal while it's filling up. And then after it fills up, it's going to go back into running mode, even though it doesn't technically look like it is, but whatever. So now we're going to shut it down, because we're not going to be riding it for a while, but it's a good idea to keep it in idle mode if you're going to be riding it again soon, because then you don't have to wait for it to make a bunch of steam again and all that stuff. So that's us getting started with RailCraft. Hooray. The next episode is going to be mostly a build episode. I mean, we'll continue playing with RailCraft, and we might check out a couple different RailCraft features, but mostly we're going to be building, so it'll be kind of my typical build episode with some like time-lapse stuff, probably some third-person time-lapse stuff, and all that kind of fun stuff. So I do hope you join me for that. Of course, if you do have any questions or comments or whatever, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And of course, if you did enjoy this, don't forget to click the like button and to join me next time. Bye bye, thanks for watching.